We are here at Earth Day 2012 on the National Mall. We are backstage. Leilani Münter is with us today, and you have such an interesting story. I heard you speak on stage, and I'm kind of familiar with your work. You're a race car driver, but you're also into the green scene, which is kind of an interesting mixture. And you relayed that to the audience today on stage. Tell me about that. That's interesting.
So my background is actually in biology. My degree is from the University of California in San Diego. And while I was going to college, I ended up going to a racing school and sort of stumbled into racing. And then later, as I started to race my way up, I've been racing now for 12 years. And I've gotten to the higher levels where my races are, airing on TV, and I get to do interviews. And I realized that it was the racing that was giving me a voice to talk to. There's 75 million NASCAR fans in the U.S. It's the #1 spectator sport in America. So the race car gives me a platform to talk about these issues to a crowd of people that really isn't being talked to too much about these issues. So it's really not my biology degree that's helping me, but actually my race car. And so my goal is to kind of use my race car and use my voice within my sport to educate and engage and hopefully inspire, 75 million fans to rethink the way that they're living and to rethink their day-to-day habits for the planet.
Well, that's a good mission, and it's so cool because so many race car fans are young kids, are kids. And I think kids kind of gravitate towards nature and being part of the planet, but not thinking about it because they're kids. And all of a sudden, if someone like you brings that to their attention, I think that's wonderful.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a different crowd. I think I'm the only race car driver here today. But I think it's important that we get out and we not preach to the choir. I go to a lot of these green events, and I'm talking at these conferences, and it's oftentimes with other people who already agree with me, who are already on board with biofuels and clean energy and wind and solar conferences, and it's great because it's wonderful networking, and I get to meet great people like you and people that sort of agree with my way of thinking. But by talking to each other, we're not really moving the needle and getting more people on board. And this is really important. We are facing some very serious issues on our planet. And we need everybody on board, not just the tree huggers. We need the NASCAR fans. We need, the basketball fans, the football fans. We need everybody to help us solve these issues.
Well, thank you for doing your part. I mean, it's a great story, and it got my attention. And like a race car driver, you have to drive in all kinds of weather, and the show must go on in all kinds of weather here at Earth Day, right?
Right, yeah. So I guess we don't have as many people as we had hoped out here because it's so cold and rainy. But I heard we have a pretty big online audience watching this, so hopefully everybody is celebrating Earth Day from within their homes nice and warm.
I hope so, because it's brisk out here. But you know what? It's like we do it for Mother Earth, and there's a lot of committed people like yourself out here, and thank you for being here. This is wonderful.
Yes, thank you for having me. Happy Earth Day, everybody.
Backstage from Earth Day 2012 in Washington, D.C. on EcoPlanetRadio.com.